Hey, how's it going, everybody? Pragmatic Addict here. Great to see you guys all again. So, yeah, you guys saw the title. Yep. Well, you guys were out watching the new certified fresh Cronenberg film Infinity Pool starring Alexander Skarsgård and my wife, Mia Goth. I was watching the new Deon Taylor film. Why, you ask? I don't know. I was asking myself that a week ago when I bought the fucking ticket. And it's funny because I went into this film, I'm really surprised. I went into this film and I was like, cool, I'm going to be the only one in the theater, which I was, and I'm going to be the only one dropping a review for this film. That'll be fine for my channel. And then I saw that Jeremy dropped his review as well. And all I'm saying is, look, I get it, man. 85-minute horror films? We don't get those anymore. Everything's fucking 2 hours now. I'm surprised Puss in Boots wasn't 3 hours. But yes, guys, Fear is the new film from director Deon Taylor. And if you don't know who Deon Taylor is, which I would not be surprised, he directed the movie The Intruder, I think, back in 2019 with fucking Dennis Quaid. And I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, if I hadn't seen this trailer the first time in a theater, I probably would have done a trailer reaction to this thing just for the fucking meme, because this movie from the trailer, you know it was going to be another Deon Taylor film. You knew it was going to be another January horror film. Now, even though I did see the trailer, I didn't really know much going into this movie because I didn't really give that much of a shit. But basically what this movie is it centers on a group of friends that take a small vacation at this lodge. It is one of the girls from the group's birthdays. And what I can say that the plot mainly tackles, or at least what it states, is that while this group of friends is staying at this lodge, on the first night that they're there, they kind of gather around the campfire and share amongst everyone their deepest fears. Now, that is the bare bones plot. That's like the bare minimum. And I say that because this film, it is only 85 minutes, but holy shit, there were, I shit you not, 4 different plots, 5 different movies, 10 different concepts in this goddamn film. But yes, that is basically the plot here. These friends are staying at this lodge for someone's birthday, and what I do want to mention is that the girl whose birthday it is, she is more or less like one of the more main characters of the group, and her partner that she is with is this apparently big book writer. It kind of states that in the beginning, just for some weird gimmick, because it never really mentions it ever again. But he also brought everybody to this lodge and his girlfriend to this lodge so he could propose to her, which apparently he has backed out on like 4 different times. Now, I'm going to do my best to not spoil the movie, or at least as of right now. If eventually during the review I just stop giving a shit about it, I'm just gonna fucking let loose. But basically, as this movie goes on, there's this basement, and the guy that is like the bigger main character, he goes down there, finds this book that's a blatant ripoff of like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead. After he reads this book, shit starts to kind of escalate, and while they're trapped in this lodge, this hotel, each character is forced to come face to face with their deepest fears and try and get to the bottom of whatever the fuck is going on in this lodge. So what I'll say right off the bat, on one of the more positive sides, well, I don't know if I'd say it's a positive note, but one of the things I kind of enjoyed, even if it was more of like a guilty pleasure kind of aspect, is that this film feels like a feature-long FearNet trailer. Remember FearNet? Remember that shit? And going back to like those kind of like days, you know, that kind of era of horror, this feels just like a mid-2000s horror film. This feels very outdated. It has every cliche from an older hammy-ass fucking horror movie from that era. Anything that you can think of, fucking name it. People waking up at 3 a.m., it's got it. Flickering lights, creepy basement, random times in the middle of the night, which no one has a fear of spiders out of this entire group, but there's just like random times at nights where like spiders are crawling in people's mouths and shit, just because it's a classic horror trope. But I gotta say, guys, and this is gonna be a little bit of a juvenile quote here, because it's of this kind of atmosphere. Something that happened back in like the early 2000s. Something like, remember the movie House of Wax? Again, something that would have been on FearNet or some shit. This just seems like a movie a few stoners could put on and, just drink to. I don't know. It's not that this has anything that is very like trippy or anything or very out there. I mean, it is a very bizarre movie as far as how much it actually includes and everything. But this movie really hurts your brain. Not in the sense of it's hard to kind of process, but it is hard to process in a dumb manner. So I'm just going to say it. Yeah, this film has 5 different plots. Again, the bare minimum, the bare bones is that, yes, these people are at this lodge coming face to face with their fears. Now, here's the thing. They are trapped in this hotel. Why, you ask? Well, this is one of those horror films, God damn it, that wears the COVID pandemic on its sleeve. Now, I will say this. I will give it this. This film was shot during 2020, and ever since 2020, I have seen this image just come and go on all kinds of different sites, get all kinds of different release dates. I really didn't know. I thought this movie was out 2 years ago and no one fucking watched it. And then I saw the trailer and then I was looking up, doing a little bit of research for this film, and I was like, oh, I guess this is that fucking film. So here's the thing, is that this is very COVID-centered. These people are all gathered on this lodge. They're all very paranoid and very skeptical of one another. And basically, while they're all trapped amongst each other and weird shit is happening, they start getting a little bit hostile towards one another. They start having suspicions that, some of them are infected, that they call it, that some of them are sick. And here's the thing. This is some goofy shit. What I was not expecting in this film, which was a huge disappointment, which it isn't all the film, but it's a lot of it, is that COVID is actually incorporated as a horror element in this film. Like, there's this one scene, for example, where they're watching the news and the CDC is on the broadcast and everything, and they're talking about this new strain, and basically some of the symptoms are paranoia or hallucinations, and that basically becomes, if not the biggest horror element in this film, one of the biggest. Which, weirdly enough, I wasn't too hateful on that aspect at first. I was like, okay, well, this does feel like a cheesy throwback, guilty pleasure 2000s horror film. Adding that with something like this, like COVID, honestly, it's just morbid curiosity to see how that goes down. But I was not expecting it to actually be one of the biggest centers of this movie. Again, it was just, I didn't buy any of it. That scene where I was telling you a minute ago where they're watching the news and the CDC is talking about this new strain, it's very gimmicky, as like in the sense of the TV is all staticky and this broadcast of this person talking about it from the CDC, their like voice is all demented and shit. There's an entity is possessing them to talk about this strain. It's just very goofy, stupid shit. I didn't buy it at all. Now, here's my biggest thing is that, again, at first I wasn't too hateful against it because I was like, okay, just for morbid curiosity, I want to see where they go with this. But goddamn, it is 2023. Why are we still getting movies like this? Films like Sick and now this. Now, I know that this was filmed in 2020, but goddamn, if they didn't release it within the past 3 years, you should have just left this thing for dead. It was just very uncomfortable in all of the wrong ways. Now, getting into things like the horror and the comedy in this film, yes, comedy, which I'm going to talk about the comedy first. It's not good. Neither is the horror. It's not good. It's there, but it's not good. You know what I mean? But in saying that, while the comedy isn't good and the horror isn't good, I did enjoy the comedy much more than the horror because it actually got some chuckles out of me, even if it was just because this felt so goofy of a movie and such like a stupid, cheesy throwback, and also probably just partially because a lot of the cast in here, I feel like they are more comedy oriented. Like, for example, the actor from The Babysitter, he is one of these standouts in this movie that I actually like, even just as a character and as an actor. But here's the thing, is that the comedy and the horror, while it is there and they do try a lot of different things, it is just the result of a script that you would literally just wipe your ass with. This is the epitome of a shitty January horror film. There's no real setup. There's no real tension or really any actual story. Just a lot of different plots that are thrown in to make this headache of a fucking movie. Now, talking about the horror in the film, how the main plot states that all these characters are coming face to face with their deepest fears. That is in the movie, but that is more so like the third act, where the first act is these people is your typical creepy hotel film, and then the second act, it is all contagion, virus, COVID oriented. And then the third act is when they actually come face to face with all their fears. So as far as a story, I don't really know what it was going for. There are things I liked as far as some of the things that the characters display. And even these different plots, you know, things about the hotel part, there are things that I thought could have worked. Even with the thing with the strain of COVID being a huge threat, that could have worked too. The escalation of it, how the characters are reacting, kind of going against certain things and certain people because of that, it could have worked. But again, I was just baffled by how much this 85-minute movie was trying to put into it. Again, there's things in this movie that could have worked, but they just couldn't go with one specific route for the movie, one specific story, one specific plot. There is horror throughout that starts very early on, but it feels very just random and out of place and inconsistent. It feels like filler in all of those degrees. And again, as far as the third act, this is strange and it doesn't happen often, but the third act is actually, I think, the most that you're going to gain from this movie as far as someone expecting what this movie kind of promotes. It is the most action-packed, the most story-driven, and it also gives you the most out of, again, that plot of these characters coming face-to-face with their fears. I just haven't seen a sloppy horror movie like this that felt so much of a mess in this way in such a long time. Again, looking back at it, the film does a lot, but once again, it is baffling for an 85-minute movie how many things it tries and how many different plots and movies it felt like it was trying to tackle. And overall, guys, I'm gonna at least give Fear a strong negative review. So yes, guys, that is going to do it for my review of Fear. I don't expect a lot of people to see this one. I don't expect a lot of people to gain a whole lot from this movie, but for those that did see it, let me know what your thoughts were upon this movie down below, as well as the review. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, we'll be seeing you guys very soon this week. We are now rolling into February, which I have a lot of content coming out, so stay tuned, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are having a great night, and I will see you guys very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching.